And now, an exclusive sneak preview of a recent X Talks webinar, Unique Sourcing Solutions to Optimize Time and Budget in Clinical Trials.
We're going to go back to this flower that you saw earlier to talk a little bit about the importance of a full service sourcing solution and why that's so important, so that you all have multiple options when you're looking at what's best for your trial. Because again, there isn't a one size fits all approach when we're talking about sourcing. If it was, your job and my job would be a lot easier. So let's take a little look at some of these nuances. First, the study design. If you have a blinded design, that's not a great study to utilize a pharmacy model. It is better suited for an unblinded study or a blinded study where you have an unblinded perhaps co-therapy that's needed. An adaptive trial of physician's choice, those are great fits for something like a pharmacy model. We talked about a pharmacy model being a very cost-effective solution, and in many cases it is. But again, making sure that you're collaborating with your external vendors to have the discussion, because with a pharmacy model, you're also going to have a monthly management fee and a setup fee. So if you're looking at a very low-price generic medication, it may not be the best choice, and you may be better suited to go with a bulk purchase. Location of your sites for your study. Obviously, a pharmacy type model is not going to be available across the globe. That is increasing every day, but certainly isn't available everywhere. So in that situation for that trial, you can have a pharmacy model, and that can be put in place for the geographies where it is available. And then again, working with one vendor like Inceptua, the ability to supply medication to your other sites via a bulk distribution. Disclosure ability. We talked about study length agreements, and those study length agreements, again, are agreements that we can put in place with manufacturers that can provide all those benefits that we talked about when we talked about looking at a strategic sourcing solution. One of the caveats, though, however, is in many cases the need to disclose. And so if you don't have the ability to disclose, again, a pharmacy model could be of benefit because there's no disclosure needed there. A very important and often overlooked part of the pharmacy model, you have to remember that this is a situation where your sites are going to order before that patient's site visit. So if you're looking at dosing based on tolerability, weight-based dosing, etc., you need to keep that in mind and again determine if a pharmacy model is going to be the best bet. Or if there is a small percentage of patients that perhaps would need to be titrated down and it's estimated at a very small number, it's possible that you could utilize bulk to seed a very small amount at those sites to be able to accommodate for that, so that when that patient is there for their site visit, that there is an alternative for them. Batch requirements. If you're ordering through a pharmacy, you potentially are going to get multiple batch requirements. So if that is a pertinent aspect of your study, then ordering in bulk, if you will, could be the best bet and best path forward. Length of study, again, this is that collaboration with your vendor partner to determine how long is your study. So again, having the ability to look at a cost analysis of the length of the study, the number of monthly management fees, etc., and looking at all the options. number of comparators needed. So we've already talked about the expense of comparators, and every time you add an additional comparator, let's say physician's choice, you have more time, more effort, more cost, and certainly more waste. So if you can use a more streamlined and cost-effective approach like a pharmacy model, that certainly can be of benefit. Site SOPs. This is something that's really never discussed when a pharmacy model is presented, and it's important. And again, that discussion, that external collaboration with your vendors is important. There are going to be sites, in particular in the US, where those sites have SOPs that state that they are not able to bring in a prescription from another pharmacy for a patient at their site, which is considered white bagging. And some sites may not even have an SOP stating that, but they may simply not want to participate in a pharmacy model because one of the ways that they make additional income in a study is to source and procure that medication themselves, tacking on an additional revenue.
To view the entirety of this webinar, visit the link in the description and register on xtalks.com completely free of charge.